Well, hello, my Gogopreneur friends, and welcome to this episode of Gogopreneur, where we are going to be talking about quite a few things. One, that sometimes your hard work gets noticed later. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Verl Workman and the Workman coaching program and the new book, The Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents. Because, hey, if you can build your business referral based, you'll never have to worry about where your next commission is going to be coming from. That means that people love you for who you are. They love your work ethic. They love your negotiation skills, your marketing skills. They love how you take care of them. And there's a million ways that you can get the next referral. And this book, Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents, by Brendan Barnum and Verl Workman, is going to do just that for you in your real estate career and pretty much anything, any other career. If you're listening as an entrepreneur here, it will still be a very good book for you to read. If you can take your business from no referrals to referral based, you hit the jackpot. So today, my guest is Verl Workman, and he's in the room, and I cannot wait to interview him. Verl, come on up.
Welcome to Gogopreneur, where Gogo Bethke, your host, interviews badass rock star entrepreneurs of the world, figuring out who they are, how they got to where they're at, and the lessons they learned along the way, so you can learn those lessons and turn it into money. Let's go get them.
I'm doing great, and I totally remember you. That's why I had to reach out.
Oh, do you? I was like, I don't know. I'm like, do they even know when I respond? I'm like, do you even know I used to be a coaching client?
Not only do I know that, I've watched your career, and I'm so proud of all the success you've had. It's been tremendous to watch you go from where you were to where you are today, and the influence and the tremendous amount of service that you give back to the industry. And I have a lot of respect, and I honor who you are as a person. I just think it's awesome. So thank you for having me today.
Gosh, I had no idea. I remember my first coach. I got a gentleman, and he was very nice. And I needed more of a, if I may say, since this is my own podcast, I'm going to use the word asshole. I needed more of an asshole. I needed somebody who can like kick my ass, because I'm a very strong personality. And if I don't feel like doing something, I'm just not going to do it. Right. But you have to do that. The reason why you're not where you want to go is because you're not doing the things you're supposed to be doing that's going to take you to where you want to go. Right. So I remember calling in and be like, I need somebody who's not so nice. And then I got Sarah. Do you remember? Is Sarah still working with you guys?
Sarah's my director of coaching now, and she runs all the coaches. And she's very nice, but she's very direct. And that's what you needed. You needed someone that was like, yeah, I don't believe your bull crap. Let's go.
Yeah. I remember she asked me, so what are your goals for this year? And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to have goals. It's like, I want to double my business. And then she goes, no, I asked you like, how much money you want to make? And I said, oh, I want to double my business. So she finally says to me on the phone, why? Because you want to work twice as hard? And I was like, oh, no. I don't want to do twice the amount of transactions. I want to make twice the amount of money, but maybe half the amount of transactions. So let's figure out how I can up my rate, right? But it's so crazy how we are so trained with put your head down and hard work equals money and go for the next transaction. We don't actually slow down to analyze our business and to be like, there might be another way.
Right. I totally agree with that. Matter of fact, you need to, before we wrap up today, ask me about stupid goals, because when you think about goal setting, it was so funny. I was talking to Sarah and some of my coaches the other day, and they even in the book. So here's a funny thing, Gogo. You'll like this. I was reading my own chapter in the book, and I regurgitated somebody else's goal setting strategy, where they said you got to set SMART goals. You know, you've heard of SMART, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And I thought to myself, I don't believe that. You're a hypocrite. Like, I absolutely do not believe in SMART goals. I think they are stupid. I think that nobody ever achieved anything great by setting realistic or attainable goals. That we have to set goals beyond our ability to even think about what's possible, and then figure out how to get there. Like, you don't.
I always call it the big, fat, obnoxious goals, right? Yeah. Actually, I learned another lesson from Sarah, so we can talk about that today. All the lessons that I learned, because we set a goal, right? So after that conversation, we set a goal, and I said, okay. She said, give me a number. So I gave her a number, $150,000. This is back like probably 2015, 16, something like that. On. So I remember 150. I have not broken 6 digits yet. So I was like, I can't. I was like, it was a hefty goal, right? Guess what I did that year? $156,000. And I
Isn't
was
that
like,
amazing?
oh my gosh. I learned two things from it, Verl. Number one, holy shit, this works. Number two, why didn't I set a bigger goal?
Well, I
So
didn't.
don't set easy goals, because I think people set easy goals because you don't want to, like, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't want to
You don't want to fail. You don't want to feel like
yes,
you're a
you don't want
loser
to,
because you didn't hit your goal.
yes, exactly. So you set a cute little goal so then you can feel like you reached it.
Yeah, I think smart goals are made up by people who don't want to be held accountable for this quarter's performance next quarter. And so they sandbag setting low goals because they don't want their boss to say, "Oh, now you got a higher goal because you met that one." And so they stop working when they're 2/3 of the way through the month because they hit their goal and they don't want to have a higher number they have to be held accountable to. I was thinking about this. So um, think of think of people like Roger Bannister who set the 4 minute mile, right? He was told the human body is not physically capable or designed to go faster than 4 minute mile. He said it, and then within a year, like 16 other people hit it. Michael Phelps, when he was 15 years old, made the Olympic team. I don't know if you know that, but like how rare that is. But like it's like winning 5 Super Bowls in the same year. That's how unusual it is. Getting 8 gold medals in the same Olympics is humanly impossible. It's not physically possible, yet he did it. And he did it by not setting attainable, realistic goals and then sandbagging his way through it. He set strategic, transformational, unrealistic, purpose-driven goals that were innovative. And then as soon as he hit one, he just set a higher goal. Like we just got to keep moving we got to keep moving the needle. And I think
Love so that's the unrealistic in this.
unrealistic. They got to be unrealistic. This is my new messaging. I'm gonna shout it from the rooftops. Smart goals are stupid, and stupid goals are where greatness happens.
So, Verl, I actually don't know your background. How did you get into real estate coaching?
So I'll give you the Reader's Digest version, but I used to sell satellite dishes and hot tubs. That was my first business. At the state fair, I was that guy, Gogo. So if you can imagine going to the fair, I'm the guy selling hot tubs. And you talked about setting goals and why do we set the goals the way we are? My first fair, I set a goal to sell 10 hot tubs because I could make $1,000 a hot tub. If I made 10 grand, that would be a home run. And on the last day of the fair, I sold number 10, and I was so excited until I ran into the cow spa guy. And he's got his cow spa shirt on. I'm like, "Sup, dude, how's your fair going?" He's like, "Oh, we killed it. How about you, kid?" I'm like, "What are you calling me kid?" I guess I was 22 at the time. And I said, "Oh, we got my goal." He goes, "Yeah, what was your goal?" I said, "I sold 10. How about you?" He goes, "Well, we sold 100. And I just had this holy crap, you loser feeling go over me that was like, wait, how did two people at the same fair selling comparable products have such different goals? And the answer is that his experience in life created beliefs that he believed it was possible. And so he had actions and behaviors and a plan consistent with what he believed was possible. I hadn't had that experience. The next year, I copied everything he did and sold 70 hot tubs. And so the difference was we have experiences in our lives that just form what we believe is possible. And I don't believe that any individual is any better than anyone else. It's just that we have different experiences. And the other thing I learned is that if I copy somebody else's greatness, I can get there a lot faster. Is that not true?
That is one of my favorite things. I tell the world all the time I'm the world's best copycat.
Yeah. Get in.
I'll just copy the people. I'm like, who am I chasing? Where am I going? Who's already there? And then I go to their profile and I go 2008 deep on their profile, on their website, on their blogs, and their YouTube videos. Like I study, I buy their books, I go to their events, I attend their masterminds, right? And then I just download the information because in that time frame, maybe like, let's say it took them 10, 15, 30 years to be who they are today, right? In that time frame, they learned a lot of do's and don'ts. I can spend the next 13, 15, or 15 or 30 years myself. Do I want to do that? That would be stupid, and I am stupid. Or I can go to their events, pay a couple of $1,000, learn what not to do, and pretty much mimic their behavior, learn the words they are using, watch exactly which order they put those words in, and then print money.
Totally works. Anyway, so I'm selling hot tubs at the fair, right? During my going out of business sell, I sold a guy 7 $10,000 home theaters and satellite systems for his married kids in Utah, and went out and installed them all after I closed my doors. And he happened to be a production home builder that called me up one Sunday and asked me how my family was doing. Gogo, this was like a humbling thing because we had gone out of business after 8 years, and somebody moved my cheese. They came out with a little 18-inch dish, and my margins went from $1,000 to sell to $68, and I couldn't physically make up the difference in volume. It just wasn't possible. So I moved out of my big house into a little house with a carport with my 3 little kids. And Mike Holmes called me up and invited me to his house on a Sunday and said, "Verl, how you doing?" I said, "Well, we're barely getting by." And he said, "I have something for you, and I don't care if you ever pay me back, but if you don't pay it forward." He wrote me a check for $10,000, and he said, "This is for your family." And I remember getting in my car, and I was emotional. I had tears, and I called my wife and said, "Honey, we can pay our rent and our car payment." And Mike Holmes just gave me $10,000. Like no strings attached. Blown away. Gogo. This is like.
And who was he to you? A customer from the past?
He was a customer that I'd sold some satellite dishes to, and then the following week, I get a call from his son that says, "My dad wants to meet with you in the office." I'm like, "Okay, it worked out really good last time. I'm headed right over." So I go to meet with him in the office, and he sits down. He says, "Verl, I've never seen anybody that can sell like you. Why don't you come sell houses for me?" And I said, I don't want to be a realtor. I don't have big hair or a big car, and I don't think I can do it." And he says, "Let me ask you differently. What would it take to get you to come sell houses for me?" And I said, "I guess you'd have to put me on salary while I'm in real estate school, and then give me an opportunity to succeed." He says, "Done." So he paid me $5,000 a month while I went to real estate school. I got my license in 10 days. And within 30 days, I was trained by his number 1 and number 2. I think I sold 37 houses my first quarter. And within 6 months, was running the sales team. I sold over 100 houses my first year. I came from a place of, I was hungry. And I didn't
What were your kids?
Right. They were little. So Brianne, who's my president of the company, runs the company right now. I think she must have been 8, and Ryan was 8 and 7 and 5. And they were just little. And we were living in a little carport house, and I started making money, and I loved it. But it wasn't my jam. Gogo was weird. I always wanted to be a motivational speaker. When I saw Zig Ziglar and Tom Hopkins and Dr. Schuler, when I was in high school, I won a sales contest in the Decca Club, and I got to go to the University of Utah and see Zig Ziglar talk. And he said, "You got to prime the pump, and you got to have a goal." And I was so fired up. I remember going back to my Decca Club advisor and said, "I want to be a motivational speaker." And you know what my teacher said? He patted me on the head like, "Nice, son. You need to have more realistic goals. There's no career path for motivational speaker." I'm like, "You suck." Like who crushes the dream of a child? That's a stupid goal, is what he said. And I said it anyway. So long story short.
Now we know that stupid goals is what we need to set.
That's how we do them. We only set stupid goals. I hope.
And it's 11:11. I don't know if you believe in angel numbers, but it's 11:11. So we know that we are on to the right thing.
That's right. I don't know if that's the thing. Is that a thing? That was an amazing thing just happened then. At 11:11, you just thought, "I'm going to set a stupid goal." I can't wait to hear what yours is. You got to give me a stupid goal when you get done. Anyway, so that's how I got into speaking. I started teaching realtors how we had early on success. My first little ebook was The Critical Path to 100 New Home Sales a Year. And I started doing 50 people half-day seminars for free for realtors. And we would sell a laptop with a digital camera and Top Producer and Dave Beeson's letter writer and all these technology pieces. I was teaching in 1999. I was teaching realtors why they needed websites. And we ended up selling that company to Homes.com. And then I went out with Homes.com. We raised about $70 million. And that put me on the map as a speaker because I was able to sponsor and buy all the big events. And that's kind of how I got to where I'm doing. When I left Homes.com, I had a non-compete, and we were coaching agents on how to use their technology. So when I left Homes.com, here's something you don't know about me. I'm psychologically unemployable. And going to work for somebody was like, it's like a job. I couldn't do it. And
yeah, I do that all the time. I'm unemployable. I'm not employable.
And I think it's our personality type, right? It's our super high DI that says, "Hey, I'm going to get what I want, and I don't need somebody else telling me what I can and can't do." The whole concept is foreign to me. So we just, I started coaching people not on technology, but on performance. And we've built a couple of companies. And this one today is just the most fun. I started it with my daughter 10 years ago, and we've grown. You know, it's funny because in the first business, Gogo, it took us maybe 15 years to get to $1 million. In this one, it took 6 months. And I learned that at every level of business, from 1 million to 5 million, you have to break all your infrastructure, build back stronger so you can go from 5 to 10. And when you go beyond that, what happens is everything that was working at 5, you have to rebuild. And all of those concepts apply so much to running a real estate business today. We've moved from a fog a mirror based business to a professionals business. And you can no longer be a generalist. People don't care if you pop by with a jar of jam. They want a realtor that can actually help them move the needle and do something significant with their most important purchase. So we became the experts in building high performing teams, and we are very good at it. Probably, I don't know of anyone who's better at it in the world than Workman Success. We have amazing coaches and clients that run some of the most successful teams in the world. And I think that what team to me means is leverage. They figure out that when you're good at what you do, you need help, and it comes in tools and technology and humans. And so how do you put those things together to create leverage? And we talk a lot about that in the book. So, and I don't mean to go off the...
Sounds good. In the meantime, I'm going to put it on the screen, workmansuccess.com. You can also find Verl on Facebook under Workman Success Systems, on Instagram, let's see, under Workman Success Systems. And I personally follow Verl personally, so that is at Verl Workman. And let me just remove this super quick. Did you know that you guys were my only real estate kind of coach?
I didn't know that.
I never coached with anybody else in the production side of real estate. Now, I had a lot of coaches for different reasons.
Yeah. Go, if you put up referralchampion.com, that was the site that I was thinking of. I just drew a blank on it, referralchampion.com. And that'll take you right into actually the toolbox that we give away when people buy the book. And there's probably $3,000 or $4,000 worth of tools and resources in that for people that purchase the book. So go online and buy the book, and then go to referralchampion.com and get the downloads. And in the downloads, there are unbelievable resources, things like My Perfect Week, Daily Success Habits, Top 50 program. You know, people tell me all the time, Gogo, and you can tell me if this is true, that their business is all referrals. They go, I have an all referral business. I was at a conference, a big national convention this last week where we launched the book. And I had, I don't know, maybe 200 people in my room. And I said, how many of you have a referral only business? And all the hands went up. I'm like, great. How many referrals are you getting out of your database? And the lady raised her hand. She says, 12. I said, that's awesome. How many people in your database? She says, about 1,100. I said, okay, 10% of your database moves every year. You should have sold 110. And so just because your business is all referrals doesn't mean you're getting all the referrals you should from your database. And what we teach in Raving Referrals is how to activate your database, how to actually create a serious referral business. There's a program in there called 8651, and it's how to close 86 deals a year, working strategically with 50 people, focusing on 1 hour a day. And so unless you're closing 86 deals a year, whatever referral program you're doing is not working. Like, it's not working. 86 deals a year, that's the number. And when you get to there, then you can start buying leads. But until you dial that in, how about we stop spending money on strangers and activate our list? And I can talk more about that if you want to, but that's...
Yeah, we can, absolutely. So I'll grab the book, so everybody gets to see the book. And congratulations for bestseller in, like, what, 5 days, a hot minute?
Oh my gosh, it was happened so fast. And that was because of people like you, our influencers, that helped push it out the day we launched it. It was unbelievable. It's my very first book. I've been going to write a book for 10 years. And we finally did it, and it became a bestseller in just literally, like,
I love it. I got the email of like, okay, here's the details, here's your link. I didn't even get to use my link. I was just like, you guys just go straight to Amazon and get the Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents, right? So again, it's Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents. You can find it pretty much everywhere. And yeah, it's a bestseller already. So I got the email. Here are the details of, you know, for letting everybody know that the book is published. And then I swear it was like, I blinked. And there was the other email coming in that, congratulations, you're a top seller.
Yeah.
I mean,
really cool.
Not we. I can't take credit for this book. You guys are.
Yeah, it's very strategic. And my co-author is named Brandon Barnum. He is the CEO of HOA.com. And this is someone you need to follow. HOA.com is created technology that is a better way to HOA. Think about that problem. No one likes their HOA, right? It's a bunch of people that police their neighbors on whether or not they can park 2 cars in the driveway. And they're building community around HOAs, where the agent's at the center of the community, and then they build a list of trusted advisors. And then with all of their with all of the networking tools and things we talk about in the book, you now cross market to each other's databases inside this trusted advisor network. And then we put on community events, bringing the communities together. And we've mapped out in HOA.com all the communities in the United States. Like literally every HOA, every neighborhood is now mapped out, and agents can go in and they can own communities and then have the ability to market and really put themselves in the middle of the interaction with all the trusted advisors in that community. It's a very cool business model.
No way. So do they go to HOA.com to check it out?
Yep. Go to HOA.com. Yeah.
Okay. I put it on the screen. Everyone, HOA stands for homeownersassociation.com.
A better way to HOA, community through unity.
I love it. So sounds like you've been busy.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things going on in the world right now. We bought a software company that is focused primarily on artificial intelligence and building AI tools and resources. That is a home run, and that's doing great. And I have all three of my married kids working with me in the business, which was one of our stupid goals when we started. And
so I want to talk about that because this year, my oldest, I can't believe I'm going to have an adult child this year. Like I cannot even, we've been saying with my husband, oh, Kobe's turning 18. And then I was flying this last week and I had a pilot sitting next to me and we were talking, and I don't know why the words adult child left my lips because I've never said that before. And as soon as I said that out loud, I was like, I texted Joey and I'm like, do you realize you're going to have an adult child in July this year? And he goes, OMG. Like we knew he's turning 18. It just never like saying 18 versus adult child. It's like a totally different experience. So our kids are not going to college. And I understand, I mean, their fight and they have a good negotiation skill. My husband is also a high DNR, so am I. So our kids just genetically inherited that skill. So their argument is that, well, you didn't go to college and you're doing just fine.
You know, I'm the same thing. I did 18 months at the community college and never went back, never graduated. Yeah. And I don't even care. I hire CPAs and MBAs to work for me, and they keep me straight and make sure that they have my payroll done and stuff like that. But I will tell you, I do think it's important for our kids to learn skills. And one of the things that was probably the most helpful for me, if this is helpful to you, is when my daughter came to work with me, she was 24. And it's so funny because she's speaking at a women's conference tomorrow. And I looked at her talk, and she talked about the imposter syndrome of being in a room with a bunch of old guys like me and my friends, formulating what we were going to build this 8-figure business. And she felt like she was an imposter in the room. But I told her that what made it possible was her ability to execute. She sees things differently than I do. Her behavioral style is different. And she took my vision and she put it into work, and she put together the technology and the infrastructure and the business plan, and she executed it and made it all happen. And it made it possible. That's like, she is not an imposter at all. And so it was really interesting to look at how she felt when she was that age. And so one of the things that I did is I hired her own coach. I got her a business coach. I've hired my son sales leadership coaches. I'm dad, and they know what I'm going to say before I say it. And so they needed someone that they could talk to about their dad as they were learning to deliver, and they didn't want to let me down. And that the desire to succeed was so high. Growing up in a home of overachievers, it's really hard for kids to step into those shoes and try and fill them. And what they learned in coaching is they're not there to fill my shoes. They're there to get their own and to bring their own value to the team. I actually made my kids work for somebody else for 2 years before I would hire them. And so my boys really hated that because Brianne's with me. We've started the business. We're kicking butt, and they want to come work for us too. And I'm like, 2 years, you got to show me you can keep a job and bring some real value to the team. And as a result of that, they came in as freaking sales animals and can run a sales organization that's very successful because they did it for somebody else.
Yeah, I told the boys, I said, if you're not going to college, which is fine, in my books, but education is very important to me, right? I believe that knowledge is power. I also believe that implementing the knowledge is where really the power lies, right? So I told them, I said, if you're not going to college, then you're going to street smart university, as I call it. Then you're learning from the people who've been there where you want to go. So whichever position you so said want to take in the company, you're going to have to follow people who's already doing that at a very, very high level. I told them they have to go to Tony Robbins. They have to go to some of the things that changed my life, right? They have to have a coach, just like I have a coach, right? Because I believe that I have multiple coaches at times. I believe that we are designed to see the world the way we are designed to see the world, right? Just like the horse that has the blinders on, I just don't have the ability, because my brain is not designed that way, to see something else that is not in my God designed vision, right? So we have to have those people in our life to guide us, to make us see, to force us see things that we don't naturally do. But I do have a question though. I'm assuming you always wanted your children to work with you. Like, I cannot wait for my children to work with me.
Yeah. So in the mind map that we created before we ever started the business, one of my values was I wanted to build a business my children would want to work for. And when I talk to so many realtors, and you probably have as well, their kids don't ever want to be in real estate because of the way their parents do it. They're at their ball games, but they're on their phones. They're with them, but their nose in their contracts. They answer their phone morning, noon, and night, and they never feel like they're present. And so, because of the way so many people do real estate, their kids don't want to work for them. And I wanted to build a business where my kids are like, I want to do that because my dad's present when he's with me. And so it was very intentional about the way we created the business. It's really fun. I have 30 employees. I've got almost 100 coaches. And when the Workmans go on vacation, we all go together. All 3 of my married kids live within 5 miles of my house. All 12 of my grandkids are at my house every Sunday for dinner. When we go, we travel as a group of 21, and we go to Lake Powell, and we spend a week on the houseboat, and we don't have to shut down the office. And I think the office has a party when we're gone because the Workmans are gone, because all these high D's are out of the office for the week. But yeah, it was very intentional. It wasn't accidental. I think every business, every life, every team, every family has a culture, and that culture is either intentionally created or it's accidentally created. The cool part about this is you get to choose. And if you allow the environment to create your culture, then it becomes frantic and out of control. Look, here's a Verlism. There's no emergencies in real estate. Like, if you have an emergency, call 911. Like
I must have learned that one from you guys, because I used to say that all the time. I said there's no real estate or there's no emergency in real estate, and if you have an emergency, you need to dial 911. That is anything. I'm no firefighter. I'm no nurse. Like, don't call me at midnight to see if we have a clear to close. I don't know, your bank is closed. We'll talk tomorrow. Like, there's nothing I can do at midnight about your real estate deal.
In the book, we have a tool we give out called My Perfect Week. And in the My Perfect Week, and maybe you remember this from coaching, is we have you design out your perfect week. And when you put in there first your non-negotiables, and non-negotiables for me or date night. I've been married 38 years. I dated my wife every week for 38 years. And I still love her. Like, I get excited when it's date night. Like, she makes my heart beat. She's my sweetheart. And then I date my kids. They get to pick a date. I have 6 kids, by the way. And so I get to date my kids. And so every month a different child gets to pick where we're going to go, what we're going to do. Those are non-negotiables. When my grandkids have soccer games and dance recitals, we put those in the calendar first. And then we book, when's our prospecting time? When do we focus on money-making activities? When are we doing lead follow-up? When are we working on listing presentations? When are we going to show buyers or sellers? And so by being intentional and laying it out in advance, and then tracking with the daily success habits tracker what we actually do in 30-minute increments, we become aware of whether or not our activities are consistent with our goals. And awareness is accountability. Like, Gogo, you said something at the beginning of the call that I like. First of all, it makes me want to reach to the phone, give you a big V hug, because I love you. And that is that nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do. Like, that's just, so this whole concept of accountability is crap. I'm not going to make you do something you don't want to do. All I can do is create an environment where you choose accountability. Yeah. Accountability is love, and it's the most important choice you'll ever make. It's when you choose to do better than you did last time. It's when you intentionally put your highest priorities in there, including money-making activities, and you focus on them.
Yeah, for me, I need a challenge. I need someone to tell me you can't do it. I'm like, me too. Watch me. I'm doing it twice, take photos, and post it.
Yeah.
By the time somebody even comes around to think about it, I already did it twice and made an Instagram post about it, right? No, I mean, I needed to. I really enjoyed Sarah. I still stay in touch with her. Yeah. I think she's the perfect definition of an adorable badass. I think she's really she's tiny like me, right? She's Yeah, I think she's like 4 foot something, or maybe 5, if I remember correctly. And so am I, but I have like a bigger than life personality, right? So I needed somebody like that. I can't have someone who's very kind, and I know this might not sound right in the head, but someone who's very kind cannot motivate me. I need a challenge. I need somebody to tell me you can't do it. I need somebody to tell me, well, that was stupid. to call me out on my BS, right? Because that's what's going to make me take action, because I hate the feeling of being stupid. I hate the feeling, even not last position. Oh my gosh, I hate seconds. I hate the second position, because I'm looking at like, who the heck is in front? Like, who's in front of me? I don't care how many I passed. I don't care how many is behind me. I'm like, who the heck? Who is that one person in front of me?
It's so funny. There's so many high performers don't need the money, but they compete because they want to win.
Yeah.
And it's not about like once you're making $2 or $3 million a year, you know, we go $1 million gross, and then the focus is $1 million net. And then we start building net worth. And that's our focus with high performing teams now, is how do you build net worth? And when I know let's
talk about that, because when I was coaching with you guys, I was an individual agent, right? Yep. So I don't actually know the team side of the Workman success coaching. Would you just like give us a 2-minute elevator pitch?
Yeah. So greatness is predictable, just like average is. And so if I track and do the right things, here's a few things. Number one, that which gets measured gets done. Anything you do 3 times, we build a system for it. I can't take you to a place where you're making 7 figures if you spend any of your day doing $20 an hour tasks. And so we teach people, especially people that are high achievers, what they need to let go of. And then here's some of the numbers that we work to. So when we build teams, it's logical, it's not emotional. So let's just say for every listing that you generate, you should create 1.5 buy-side closings. And so if you have a business where you sold 30 deals and 15 were buyers and 15 were sellers, that means you left 7.5 transactions on the table because you didn't follow up with your B and C leads. And so every listing you generate will generate 6 to 8 leads a month if you work it correctly. And for every 25 leads we generate, we add a buyer's agent. We have a systematic approach to how and who and when to hire. And then with our AI technology now, where I'm able to take, let's say you want to hire an assistant or a client care coordinator, I can take the job description, I can take the disc profile, I can have that person answer a 100-question survey. I put it into my AI engine, and then it assesses that person and their core values and comes back and tells me on a scale of 1 to 10 how they're going to work in all the areas that I'm hiring for and what their gaps are going to be and what I'm going to have to focus on and how I'm going to communicate with them. And that all happens in seconds with our AI. And so we teach our people how to hire A players, and then how to develop people. And Gogo, this is probably the greatest, if I could give you any lesson in leadership, it would be that we don't hire people to serve the leader so the leader can have a better life. We find people who, as a leader, we can serve and we can change their life and we can help them become successful and help them live better lives. And when we help other people get what they want out of their lives, we get everything that we want. And it's an amazing piece. We have very low turnover on our teams. Our team leaders are phenomenally successful, and our coaches were all clients before they became coaches. And so they first had to live it, and then they had to show the example they can do it, and then they get nominated by their coach to actually help other people. And it's a very cool room to be in, because it's a room of givers and people that make 7 figures that want to make a difference in other people's lives.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So you know what's crazy? I never realized how many of the things and I say come from your guys' coaching. Hearing you talk, I just implemented it, and it's been so long. Right now, my mind thinks they are my own words, but now that I hear it from you, I'm like, I probably picked it up in the Wokman coaching program, right? So let's talk about super quick about the $1 million gross, the $1 million net, then building a net worth, right? Because I started another program. I started the Gogopreneur community. It's about 1.5 years old, because I have graduated so sad, right? I was sitting on a plane one time, and this lady sitting next to me. I guess most of my big conversations on an airplane talking to a stranger. And then so she's like, so what do you do for a living? And I was like, like, I don't even know what I do anymore. I do this, and then I do that, and then I'm an investor, and I have a podcast, and I have a TV show, and I have a real estate team, and I have a nationwide, and I have a digital product. And I was like thinking to myself, what do I, like, what am I? And I was like, I'm a serial entrepreneur. That's right. I happen to hold a real estate license. I happen to be really good at that, right? And I really enjoy teaching others how to be successful at it. But I'm also, now I have spent the last 5 years of my life researching how to build wealth. So I don't know about you. It didn't sound like you came with a silver spoon into this world in your mouth either. So nor did I, especially coming from Eastern Europe. I mean, I remember it. I never even imagined owning a car. Like, that was not. Like, if I could have owned a 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartment in Romania back in the day, that would have been my wildest dream.
Sure.
Right. And so coming from that all the way here, I realized that, we don't think big enough for ourselves. And then if we look for help, who's going to teach me what to do with millions? My parents. They never held, I don't even think they ever had $10,000 in their hand, let alone 100, let alone millions. Right. And it's not because our teachers or our parents, our friends don't want to help us. They do, but you can't teach something you've never done. Right. So to me, then I'm like, okay, then I need to go research what do people do with money? Because I don't know. I don't know anything about investments. I don't know anything about taxable income deduction. I don't know anything about, like, there is a whole other world out there that nobody teaches us. And it's not because they're guarding the information. It's because it's really the top 1% of the top 1%. And they are too busy investing themselves. Right. So I started the Go-Getter community with the idea of all these go-getters to learn a little bit of everything, not just to make the money. What happens after you made the money?
How do you keep it? How do you build real wealth?
Yes. How do you grow it into let your money make you money? So I want to talk about that third portion. So you talked about getting to $1 million gross. You talked about getting to $1 million net. Now let's talk about what to do with the money. So what does that look like when you guys teaching these team leaders? What does that look like? Like, give us another 2-minute elevator pitch.
Okay.
Why you included that into your coaching?
So I'm not a wealth advisor, but I will tell you that what we focus on building 4 pillars of income. And that if you want to retire with $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month, then we say, okay, what are the 4 pillars that are going to create that don't require you to work? And so when I sit down with my financial advisor, I say, okay, I want to make $30,000 a month when I retire, and I don't want to even think about it because my wife has expensive taste and she loves handbags. And so I never want to. I don't want to make any decision in my life because I do or don't have the money. I want to do the right thing in the right moment because I can, and I don't want to be held accountable to anybody else. That's a big deal for me. And growing up in poverty, that's part of what drives me. It's not that I want to be wealthy. It's just I never want to be broke again because poverty sucks. Mm-hmm. And so we'd look at 4 pillars. And so I would say that, and nobody should tell you what your 4 pillars should be. I just will say that you should be your own best client. Like if you understand real estate and you ever say to someone, this is a really good deal, you should buy it, and then you don't buy it yourself, like what does that make you? Mm-hmm. Right? And so be your own best client. The other thing is, what are things that have annuity? What are the things that will continue to pay you? How do you make your money work for you? I love property management as a pillar. I think property management and owning property management, you have 100 doors, you're making really good money. And it's a completely self-contained business that has 1 or 2 people working for it. I've got clients now that have 700 and 800 doors and they're making serious money, and they don't even work in that business. They have systems and processes and online lead generation that adds a lot of doors. Other pillars of income could be investments. Sometimes we learn tax strategies that are equal to income. And so by not paying tax because you have depreciation or other things that you get to write off.
Segregation is my new best friend.
Yeah, there's some new things. I did a thing last year with an equipment leasing where I invested $1 million in equipment leasing. I write off 60% of that in the first year, $600,000 of income offset by investing money into short-term equipment leasing. And there's a funny thing in the tax code that allows us to have big write-offs. And then I get paid monthly for all of that business. So I get paid like 18% on my money, plus I get a big tax write-off. And it's a stupid investment.
So what type of equipment? So said, is this like a totally different company that you invest that needs equipment, or is this equipment?
Totally. Short-term rental company, the companies that rent out like scissor lifts and backhoes and little tractors for your
like heavy machinery, like the 6,000 pound car tax write-off rule, kind of, but
kind of like that, except there's some rules, and one of the rules is it has to be no longer than 7-day rentals, and so contractors will lease a scissor lift because they're hanging sheetrock in a property, and so they rent it for 7 days. You have to be involved in the business 100 hours a year. So my wife is involved in that business 100 hours a year, checking where the UCCs are, and then those are a couple of the things that you have to do. And then you have to, and we use leverage. So we take $100 of cash to buy $1 million worth of equipment. And then that creates, and the company actually pays all of the debt service, all of the loan, and pays me a return and buys the equipment out at the end of 5 years. It's a crazy thing. So that's just one thing, right? So what are the things that we have that allow us to create wealth? Short-term and long-term rentals are a big deal. Investing in the stock market, if you like to do that. I've got a son right now that buys a morning trade program where all he does is trade with somebody else's money every morning from 7:30 to 8:30, and he's making between $3,000 and $5,000 a month, working an hour every morning, which is not good for a 20-year-old kid who loves to play games, because then he sits in the basement and games all day, but he's making really good money. So I have a hard time telling him to not do that, right?
I know, I have a kid like that, and he's constantly like, Mom, I can do this in like 5 minutes and make this much money. I'm like, I know you can, but I want you off of your video game chair.
I know, get going.
I want you to make eye contact, shake hands, put some real clothes on. And I don't know, maybe hold that conversation more like, bro.
Right.
I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, if you call me bro one more time, that's the last time you had a mouthful of teeth. I'm like, that's what my dad used to say. He's like, this is the last time you had a mouthful of teeth. So I was like, these teenagers is just so different. Every generation, I feel like, is so different. I'm sure my parents looked at us like, what do you mean you want to microwave your food when you could warm it up on the stove? Like, that was, our generation. Right. And now our children's generation, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what my children are going to become. But man, do I want them to be a little more like us.
It's all about the air fryer now.
Exactly, the Ninja air fryer. So I wrote down my 4 pillars as we were talking. So in real estate, real estate is very important to me because cost segregation and taxable write-off and the appreciation and then paying for itself by other people. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? So in real estate, we have long-term rentals, multiple doors, short-term rentals. We have syndications. I have fractionalized real estate. We have an Airbnb. Yep. And we are buying now into a hotel condo or a condotel, they are called. So I'm pretty diversified in the real estate side, I would say.
Right.
I wrote down Bitcoin and stock for dividends. So I love Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I have been researching it and I'm dumping every penny I have lately into that. The dividends I enjoy because you don't have to sell, right? So some of the stocks I buy for the dividends because you don't have to sell your share and you're still making money with that. I wrote down digital products because you can't see my wall here, but I have 2 Comma Club awards for digital products that I have created. And I don't call that passive because I still have to create content for that digital product to sell today, right? And also we do live trainings and all of that stuff. So it still requires a little bit of my time. But I wrote down digital products and then I wrote down passive income. So I'm with EXP. Even though revenue share is not passive, I still work for it very much because I contribute to the Team Gogo organization a lot of my time and knowledge and help other people grow their businesses. But at one point, sometime down in the future, it can become passive when I'm so ready to retire, right? So these are my four I wrote down.
I think they're all great. The challenge with a lot of the network marketing real estate companies is there's not enough focus on the production that happens in the downline. And we're in the business of selling people, and we think that by attracting people to our organization, we're going to become wealthy. But these people have to sell houses. Nobody gets paid unless someone sells houses.
That's why we focus on production, and agent attraction, because I want them and investments, because I want them to learn it all, right? Because if they only learn production, then they're going to be chasing the next commission for the rest of their lives. And one day they're going to wake up, they're going to be 65, an open house and nothing to show for it, right? And I want them to have it all. But while we have our strong young years and we don't mind chasing the next commission, let's chase it, but build something in these years, the real estate investments, the Airbnbs, the coaching programs, the digital products, the downlines, right? So then when you're burnt out, your business is not plummeting, you can actually take a breather and have a life, right? So fun fact, Team Gogo did $2.7 billion last year in the year of real estate.
Congratulations. How exciting is that, right?
No, isn't it awesome? I love it. I love it. Everybody's happy. Everybody's making money, living their best lives. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And we coach many of the top producers at EXP, which is kind of interesting. Not just many of the top producers, but some of the biggest organizations that you're familiar with, Licensed Workman Success, coaching and training for their downlines. Even though EXP has lots of coaches in their organization, we're brand agnostic, and we just focus on how do you make money in this business, period. And
so I want you guys to come. And I don't know who I would need to talk to. Who would be a good one to do like a good team leader training that would be kind of like a 10,000 foot view of what they would get if they coach with you. Does that make sense? Like they would get so much knowledge in that 1 hour that would blow their mind of what they're missing, what they don't know, then they would then want to come and coach with you guys. Is there someone you can do that?
Someone besides me?
Or you? I mean, I don't know if you're maybe retired or...
No, I'm working, man. Are you kidding me? I'm just getting warmed up.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so would you be so kind and come teach in Team Gogo and also in the Gogopreneur community?
Yeah.
But I would love if you shed some light, because, you know, I remember even just becoming an agent. Like I remember I showed up at the front, the first house I ever showed, and there was a lockbox on the door, and I'm like, what is that?
Right.
Nobody teach you like actual real estate. And then when you become a top producer, nobody teach you that the next step is to become a team lead. How do you build a team? What's the right, you know, infrastructure? Where do you find buyer's agents? How do you train buyer's agents? What's a listing specialist? Like, you know, how do you pay them? What's the right capital? Like nobody teaches you that. Right. So I would love if you could come and shed some light on what does it take to become a team lead. And then in return, I'm sure many of our Team Gogo agent partners who are ready for the next level to become a successful team lead would become your coaching clients.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I'm happy to do that with you. And I think that I'll do it because I believe that there's a right way to build teams, and most people teaching it don't know it. And because that's all we do. I mean, all we do is create leverage. It's all we do. We are so good at it. We have a team. I have data on it. Everything we do is just predictable greatness. So I love to do it. Happy to do it. And we didn't talk much about the book today, but I will tell you that this book is freaking awesome. And it's a home run. Like the content that's in there and all of the tools and the resources and the systems we teach around referrals is phenomenal. And don't forget the referralchampion.com is how you get all of the stuff. And if you want to know what it looks like to coach with us, set up a coaching consult. Just raise your hand and say, I want to do a strategy session. And one of my people will get on the phone with you. We'll ask you where you are, where you want to go. And our methodology is we get in the boat with you and say, let's go. We don't stand on the sidelines and yell instructions at you. We get in your business and in your life, and we pick up a paddle and we say, we're going over together, or we're gonna make this thing work. And so we just get in it with you and we go.
And you have it on the screen, but for those of you who are listening, referralchampion.com is where you have to go. So again, it's referralchampion.com. Also, the book is called Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents, and you can pretty much find it everywhere from the Amazons of the world. So again, it is Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents. And I'm super honored to be in the book twice. Thank you so much, Verl, it's such an honor. I cannot believe that I'm in your book. I was like, do they even know I was a coaching client?
We have, it's so funny. My sons remember you from when you came into coaching. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I was like, I have no idea. I have no idea if you guys knew that, but I hope I made you guys proud. I'm a studier for life. I'm an implementer. You can ask Sarah. I'm like, everything she told me, it was done. It was done the next day. Right. And I believe that knowledge is power, and I believe implementing that knowledge, but having someone to guide you to make sure that you stay on the path is so important. So Verl Workman, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so proud of you and what you've accomplished in your life. It's an honor to be a guest on your show. So thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. It was my absolute pleasure. Thank you guys for watching. It would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to my channel, and also stay tuned so you can watch the next video.